Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk's preview of the NFL quarterbacks this season, and it is brought to you by Boom Fantasy. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the two heads of the NFL for DFS Coach Talk. Of course, everybody knows Josh Crash Davis. Josh, welcome back for the NFL season, our first NFL pod of the year. Are you fired up to get this going?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like it's been more than 6 months or however long it's been since we've done NFL, and I'm definitely ready. So,
I'm fired up, and I'm really fired up too because we have added a tremendous piece to our NFL puzzle here at Coach Talk and Boom Fantasy. We're so excited to welcome our man Stephen Miller. It is definitely Miller time here at Coach Talk. Stephen, can you tell our listeners and members a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Football's my passion. I've been playing it since I was a kid, and went off to college, went to BYU and ASU, and just been, following football my entire life. So a lot of information up in this brain right here.
And I know you have some good contacts in the NFL, and you have, a lot of guys you played with, and I know you've won some fantasy league championships too, so you've got it all ready.
This year, hopefully I can beat my wife this year. She actually won last year, but
we'll see
what we can.
Is she nearby? Maybe we need to switch out.
No.
Hey, my wife won our league too, so it happened.
She did.
Yeah,
oh my Lord!
What a coincidence! That's how it goes sometimes.
We know where the brains are in both of those families. That's for sure.
Really.
And we haven't got you the Coach Talk hat yet, so you're repping the Patriots. Is that your squad?
That's right. I'm from New Hampshire, so
okay,
a little town called Londonderry.
I love it.
There. Yeah.
Well, shout out to New Hampshire then, and for any of our members up there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to dive right into this NFL quarterback preview, and we're going to be coming to you multiple times the next several weeks. We're going to work on each position, and we're going to give you our rankings for the upcoming fantasy season. You can take note if you have any dynasty leagues or year-long leagues, or you're going to be drafting best ball teams, or even in preparation for your daily fantasy selections. That's all hopefully something we're going to bring to the table here today. So we're going to start out with Crash, and he's going to give you his number 10 through 6 rated quarterback for this upcoming NFL season.
Okay, so number 10 is going to be Kirk Cousins. I think that he's going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of their hiring of former Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. He's been talking about how he's going to use Justin Jefferson a lot like they use Cooper Kupp, and I think that Cousins is going to benefit from that as well. He had one of his better years last year with 4,221 yards passing and 33 touchdowns. And the key for him is he only threw 7 interceptions. So I think O'Connell is going to be a great hire. They've got a lot of the same receiving core back. They are getting Irv Smith back at tight end, so I think that'll help Cousins as well. So he's going to be my number 10 quarterback in 2022. Number 9 is going to be Kyler Murray. As everyone knows, he just signed that huge contract extension, so there's going to be more pressure than ever to deliver on that signing. So he's going to be without DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the year. He's suspended, so that's going to be a big deal. So they brought in Marquise Brown from Baltimore. He's going to be their top wideout. And then A.J. Green and Rondale Moore are back to kind of help, round out that core. They did lose Christian Kirk, who was their leading receiver last year. So I think he's going to get off to a slow start, but I think he'll end up being a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year. My number 8 quarterback is going to be Dak Prescott. Dallas did lose Amari Cooper, so he went to Cleveland. So it's going to be up to, of course, CeeDee Lamb. He kind of established himself as the top wideout there. And Michael Gallup is coming back from an ACL injury. And he just said the other day he won't be ready week 1. So it's going to be up to Lamb and the rookie Jalen Tolbert that they drafted. And then they added James Washington from Pittsburgh. And then, of course, their primary tight end, Dalton Schultz, will be back as well. So I think that Dak is going to have a strong year, but it could be a little bit of a feeling out process in the beginning as they adjust to life without Amari Cooper. Number 7 is going to be Joe Burrow. He has one of the best wide receiver trios in the league, and I don't see any reason why he's going to slow down. The Bengals did quite a bit in the offseason to address their offensive line, so if that all comes together, he should be able to build off of the 34 touchdowns and 4,611 passing yards he had last year. So see a big season again from Joe Burrow. And my number 6 quarterback is going to be Matthew Stafford. Last season, he had his best season in over a decade with 41 touchdowns and 4,886 passing yards. Their wide receiver core is going to look a lot different this year. Robert Woods was traded to Tennessee. Odell Beckham is still out there in free agency. So it's going to be up to Cooper Kupp, of course, and Allen Robinson, who they brought over from the Bears in free agency. So I think that Robinson and Kupp are going to carry the load, and I expect them to be near, the top 5 in fantasy quarterbacks this season. So those are my number 10 through 6 quarterbacks this year.
Very nice. I'm surprised you have Dak and Joe Burrow that low. I can, it hurts being a Cowboys fan, but
yeah,
I think you're right. I think it makes perfect sense. But I'm excited to hear what Steven has for his 10 through 6. What do you got, Steven?
Well, we matched up on one of them, but at 10, I have Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson has just got that athletic ability that really no one else in the league has. He dealt with a lot of adversity last year before the season even started, with losing J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Stanley, the right tackle. All those guys right now are currently on the PUP list, but they're expected to be there week 1, and their defense with Marcus Peters. So when a defense really gets hit with injuries, I think it affects the offense tremendously because they put so much pressure on the quarterbacks. But right now I have Lamar Jackson as my number 10. At my number 9, I have Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts was one of the more consistent quarterbacks last year. I think bringing in A.J. Brown was a huge thing for the Eagles. Yeah. He's built kind of like a Deebo Samuel, I could see them actually kind of using him in that type of situation from time to time and kind of getting the ball out to him in the flats real quick or hitting him downfield. But also, again, with the defense, they brought in a lot of players that's going to keep pressure off the offense. So it's never playing from behind or so on and so forth, with bringing in Bradbury and Hassan Reddick from Houston for the Cardinals. I think last year he was with the Panthers, but I think that's really going to help out the Eagles this year, and I think Jalen Hurts is going to benefit from it. At 8, we got it. Me and Crash are on the same page. Dak Prescott. Go back a year and a half ago when he got injured, he was the number 1 quarterback in the league before that injury with the Giants. And then coming off of that serious injury, I think we've all seen it. It's a serious injury, and I think he's going to come back really good this year with CeeDee Lamb and with Michael Gallup. And I think they're going to be using Tony Pollard in a lot of different schemes and probably a lot of gimmick plays too with it. But I think Dak Prescott this year is going to be able to get back to his run pass option that he ran 2 years ago. So he's my number 8. At number 7, it's Cameron Pro, the guy that showed up. Aaron Rodgers, the guy that showed up as Cameron Pro.
I love it, Steven. I think he just about fell off his chair there. I love it.
I thought it was Cameron Poe, I swear. But anyways, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's got that football IQ that not too many players in NFL history have ever had. I think in the beginning of the year, he's going to be using a lot of Aaron Jones to kind of get out of different situations with trying to figure out who his number 1 or his number 2 receivers are. But as the season progresses, I think he's going to be dialed in with all the new ads that they have this year. At number 6, I have Joe Burrow. What I like about Joe Burrow, I love his confidence. I love his swag. Obviously, he's got those top 3 receivers, but what he did last year is something I've really never seen before. It's almost like a Joe Namath type of thing. He brought like the worst team in NFL history for a long period of time to a Super Bowl, which is tremendous, and especially coming off of a knee injury from the year before. It's pretty spectacular, and I think he's going to do very, very well this year. And they added a lot of depth on their offensive line as well.
Very nice. I can't wait to see 5 through 1 for both of you guys, even though I now know that Dak Prescott won't be in either one of those, but that's okay. I mean, I agree with you. I do agree, I have to say. But I just want, I alluded to it at the beginning of the podcast. We have partnered with Boom Fantasy. We're so excited about that. We're going to be working with them throughout this entire NFL season. And so we'll be announcing some promo codes to join Boom Fantasy. They're going to have a litany of different options to bet props and all kinds of things. So we'll be that'll be something in future podcasts that we'll talk about. But in the meantime, if you want to check us out, go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can check out all of our sports. We handle just about everything, basketball, football, baseball, golf, MMA, you name it, we're doing it. And we would love to have you join us at Coach Talk. All right. For the rest of these guys, let's see what we're going to unveil as our top 5 quarterbacks for this coming NFL season. Crash, who do you have?
Number 5 is Cameron Poe or Aaron Rodgers. They made the move that sent shockwaves around the league when they traded Davante Adams to Las Vegas. So I think that Rodgers is going to come in with a chip on his shoulder after back-to-back MVPs. I feel like he has a ton to prove, really, to the whole world, that he can do it without Davante Adams. He can do it with these young receivers. It's kind of known around the league that he has a hard time trusting receivers that he hasn't played with very much. And so I think he's going to come in with these young guys. They're going to rally around him. I think they're going to have an excellent season. Like Steve had alluded to, Aaron Jones, he actually was second in receptions for Green Bay last year. So he was already heavily involved in the passing game. I think he'll be even more involved this year as A.J. Dillon becomes more and more of the workhorse back. And so Rodgers is going to be my number 5 quarterback for 2022. Number 4 is going to be Patrick Mahomes. They also made a big splash this offseason when they traded Tyreek Hill to Miami. But I think that, they added Juju Smith-Schuster from Pittsburgh. They added Marquez Valdes-Scantling from Green Bay. And then they drafted Sky Moore from Western Michigan. And, of course, he still has Travis Kelce that he can always rely on. So he threw for 4,839 passing yards last year, 37 touchdowns. I expect big numbers again from Mahomes. There will be a little bit of transition period as he gets used to the new receiving core, but he's still Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to have a big year. Number 3 is going to be the old man, Tom Brady. He led the NFL in passing yards last season with 5,316 at 44 years old. That's insane. Led the league in touchdown passes as well with 43. So the Bucs, they of course lost to Antonio Brown, or he lost the Bucs, I guess you should say. Yeah. But they've brought back Chris Godwin. That was one of their big free agency moves. They added Russell Gage from Atlanta. And then last Monday, they went out and signed Julio Jones. So there's going to be no shortage of weapons for Brady. He is losing Gronk, but, they've got plenty of weapons at wide receiver. Cameron Braid will be back, and they brought in Kyle Rudolph, which if anyone can get anything out of him, it's going to be Brady. So he's going to be my number 3 quarterback. Number 2 is going to be Justin Herbert. He surprised a ton of people last year, built off of his impressive rookie year, had an even better year in 2021. A lot of people thought he wouldn't be able to do that, so I'm not going to doubt him this year. They kept their receiving core intact. They brought back Mike Williams, and they did add tight end Gerald Everett from Seattle this year. So Justin Herbert's my number 2. Number 1 is the quarterback who was number 1 last year, Josh Allen. He was number 1 in fantasy with 4,407 yards passing, 36 passing touchdowns, along with 763 yards rushing and 6 rushing touchdowns. So he really puts up the fantasy points. They added Jamison Crowder from the Jets. I think they'll get a lot more out of him than they got with Zach Wilson in his rookie year. And then they also drafted a promising rookie in Khalil Shakir from Boise State. So I think Josh Allen is poised for another huge year. So he is my number 1 quarterback in 2022.
Outstanding list. I agree with Josh Allen, man. He is just a superstar, maybe MVP of the league. That's what I would predict, but yeah, outstanding. Before we throw it to Steven, real quickly, if you're watching these on YouTube, give us a quick thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and click the little alert in the upper corner. We're going to be dropping these podcasts throughout the next several weeks before the NFL starts. If you have that alert button pushed, you'll get an alert every time one of our podcasts posts, so you don't miss out on any of our selections. If you're watching on TikTok, like and please subscribe to us. Make sure that you follow us there on TikTok. And if you're watching on any of our listening, I should say, on any of our audio podcast sites, give us a quick 5-star and ranking. We give out some free memberships to Coach Talk for those that do that on our audio podcasts. All right, no further ado. Our new man on the block. Everybody's waiting for this one. Top 5 quarterbacks for the upcoming season. What do you have, Steven?
So at number 5, I have Matthew Stafford, which is, it's crazy the type of year he had last year because he wasn't in my top 10 the year prior to that. So what Sean McVay was able to get out of him and the connection that he made immediately with Cooper Kupp just becomes very dominant. And again, his confidence level is up here right now. So I believe he's going to do great things there. And again, another solid defense that will keep pressure off him from trying to overperform the way he used to do in Detroit. At number 4, I have Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he lost a lot of guys this year. He lost Pringle over to the Bears. Yep. And then he lost Demarcus Robinson over to one of the divisional rivals, the Raiders. But you're right, he brought in Sky Moore, and I think they're going to do really well this year. He's always Kelsey. I love the way that Patrick Mahomes plays. Stays upright in the pocket, always able to finesse and get around defenders and create guys to get open. So he's my number 4. My number 3 is the GOAT. It's Tom Brady, going to be 45, I think, like next week, starting the season out. He might play till he's 50. But obviously he's my number 1. It's surely based off of defense and volume of throws that Tom Brady has. He had 727 attempts, led the league last year, led the league in passing yards as well. Brought back pretty much the entire offense and added the additions to as Russell Gage and Julio Jones just came over. So I think they're kind of the team to beat in the NFC, in my opinion. So I have Tom Brady as my number 3. At number 2, I have Crash as number 1. I have Josh Allen. Josh Allen is he's a different specimen. He can run, he can throw. But I sometimes think that the coach relies on him to do too much, and sometimes he faults for that. Yeah. But as far as like God-given ability, I think he's up there. He's up there with one of the best I've seen. So I have him at my number 2. And at number 1, I have Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert actually won my fantasy 2 years ago, and brought me to the championship last year. With Justin Herbert, I think his football IQ is the highest out of anyone in the league. His stature is, he's a 6'6" guy. He plays real tall, doesn't really make bad decisions. And again, they brought in a great defense with Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson in the back. And obviously they got Austin Eckler, and they're the team that goes for it more times than any other team in the league on 4th down. So I believe they're going to even increase the opportunities to go for it on 4th down based on knowing that they can rely on their defense to stop. So those are my top 5.
Yeah, Herbert, what a future that young man has. He's just a baby. So he's going to be a great one. Outstanding, guys. Really appreciate it. Great insight there. We'll be following up again with the running backs on the next podcast, and we'll go through the same way as we're doing there. Again, if you want to join us, check us out at DFS Coach Talk. You can jump aboard for all of our daily fantasy information. And again, we want to thank Boom Fantasy for their partnership, and we're just excited to get the NFL going. So we appreciate everybody listening in. Again, keep an eye out for these. They'll drop every couple of days here, all the way up until the start of the NFL season. So Crash, great job as usual. Steven, great to have you as part of the team. It is going to be an awesome season here at DFS Coach Talk in the NFL. So thanks, everyone. Hopefully that wets your whistle a little bit for a little football And we haven't even turned the page to August yet. That's how fired up we are.
Yeah.
So check it out. If you have any comments, put them below if you're watching on YouTube or anywhere you happen to be watching us, and we'll be happy to respond to those. So thank you very much. Have a fantastic day, and we'll be around all season as we look to crush it in NFL with Boom Fantasy.